are going to have a look at how many mathematical processes and what math skills we would use in making some flapjacks. So today we are going to make some ginger and chocolate flapjacks, one of Mrs. Price's favourite recipes. So the first thing I need to do is have a look at my recipe and have a look at what ingredients I need. Now, my ingredients is all written down here on this app, and I've managed to get it all out ready. But the first instruction I've been given is I need to turn on my oven. Now it tells me I have to turn the oven to 170 degrees C. I wonder what degrees C means. Can anybody tell me? So I'm going to turn my oven on. If I wasn't measuring in degrees C, I wonder if there's any other measurements I could use to measure temperature. I wonder. The next instruction my recipe tells me to do is to get a circle-shaped tin that measures 18 centimetres. So, I've got a tape measure here, and I can measure to check that the diameter of my tin is about 18 centimetres, which it is. If I didn't have a tape measure, what other equipment could I use to measure a distance? I wonder how many you can think of. If I was measuring a different shaped tin, it might be a rectangle, it might be a square. How would I tell if it was a rectangle or a square? And what else could I use measurement-wise to measure in? Would I measure it in grams if it's distance? I'm not sure. So my measurements tell me to use centimetres. Are there any bigger measurements I could use? Or any smaller measurements I could use? See what you can think of. Okay, so the next thing I need to do is get my ingredients, and from my recipe I need to measure out the quantities. Now it tells me in my instructions that we need to get a pan. This is a round pan. Do pans come in any other shapes? I don't know. So I've got a round pan and I am going to put it on my weighing scales. Now these are digital weighing scales. Can anybody tell me any other types of scales we might use? So I put my pan on my weighing scales and I set it to 0. Okay? Now, the unit of measure I am measuring in today is grams. But are there any other units of measure I could use if I'm measuring out weight? Have a think and tell me what you can come up with. So, I need 100 grams of low-fat spread. If I wasn't measuring 100 grams and I wanted to convert it to something else, what could I convert to? Okay, so I've got 100 grams. I need 50 grams of syrup. Okay, and I need 30 grams of this almond butter paste. You'll notice that as I'm going through this, I haven't kept resetting my scales. Can anybody tell me what I might be doing in my head with all of this ingredients so that I don't have to keep resetting my scales? Can anybody think about what I might be doing? What calculation might I be carrying out in my head? Okay, earlier, and I've got a banana that I also have to add. Banana needs to be 75 grams, and then I need to take a whole lot and mash it. Okay, so now I've got all of the ingredients ready in my circle pan. I am going to measure out the porridge oats. Now the ingredients has told me I need 175 grams of porridge oats. Again, I've used my weighing scales and I've already measured out the 175 grams. Now, the next thing tells me I need a teaspoon of ground ginger. Now, if I wasn't going to use a teaspoon, how else might I measure out a teaspoon of ground ginger? What else might I do if I'm not sure how much a teaspoon is? Could I get that information from anywhere else? Okay, I then need to take 15 grams of stem ginger and I need to add that in. So I'm going to put my scales back onto 0 and I'm going to take my 15 grams of stem ginger. That's 12 grams. Would I be better off putting another one of these in or leaving it as it is? What do you think? Okay, so the next stage of my recipe is to melt the ingredients that I've got in my circle pan. So I'm going to turn the gas on. Now it tells me in the recipe to have the gas on low. How else could I measure what low means? What units could I use to know what I am measuring the temperature of my flame in? Okay, so I'm going to put my mixture on the hob and I'm going to stir it while everything melts. It tells me that this should take 1 to 2 minutes. How else could I measure that? What other units of measure could I measure in? And if I was going to convert to a smaller unit of measure, what calculation would I need to do? If you can work the answer out, 2 minutes in a smaller measure, I'll be really impressed. Melted in the pan. Okay, once that's fully melted, which it nearly is, I'm just going to add my oats and my ground ginger and my stem ginger that we measured out earlier into this mixture and mix that together. So I've now mixed all of my ingredients together and I'm now going to put it into the baking tray that we lined earlier. So I'm just stir it all out like this. And I'm going to flatten it down and make it all spread out in the tin. recipe tells me that I have to put this in the oven and I have to bake it for 20 minutes. If I wanted to know what that was in seconds, what calculation would I need to do? So, we're flattened out in there and we're going to put it in the oven. That's already been preheated and we are going to bake it for 20 minutes. When I come back, we'll do the last set. Okay? Okay, so it's been 20 minutes since I put my flapjack in the oven. It's now ready to come out. So if I put my flapjack in the oven at 5:40, what time is it now? Also, how else might we say 5:40 in time? It's 5:40 in the afternoon. How else could I have written that or said that? So, I've got my flapjack ready here. So the first thing I need to do now is take my chocolate. Now, I'd already weighed out 25 grams of chocolate and I had to heat that for 120 seconds in my microwave. How many minutes would 120 seconds be? How would I work that out? Now, what I now have to do is drizzle the chocolate over the top of my flapjack like this. Try not to get too many blobs on it. Okay. Once I've drizzled all of my chocolate over the top, I then put it in the fridge and cool it for about an hour. How many minutes is an hour? And if you're being really clever, can you work out how many seconds there is in an hour? What calculations would you need to do and how would you work that out? Once it's been in the fridge for about an hour, it will look like this and you'll be able to cut it up and eat it. Now, my circle has to be cut into 12 pieces. How might I portion that up? What fraction would I have if I take one of my 12 pieces? Okay, I hope you've all enjoyed Miss Price's cooking lesson and I hope you've all realised how many different mathematical processes go into everyday tasks. Hope you give the recipe a go and enjoy. Thank you, bye.